Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirannasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So chapter 23, the Pracetas meet Lord Shiva. The 10 princes, known as the Pracetas, set off to perform austerity and on the way meet Shiva, who teaches them a prayer. All glories to King Prithu, exclaimed Vidura. What a magnificent personality. My dear Maitreya, please tell me about his descendants. Surely there were other great souls in his line. There were indeed. Listen as I tell you their names and glorious deeds. Prithu's eldest son, Vijitashva, became emperor after his father and divided the world among his younger brothers, toward whom he was most affectionate. His brother Haryaksha ruled over the east, the south, Vrikha the west, and Dre. Thus, the god bestowed on him the title Antardhana, one who can vanish.
Your voice is not coming, Mataji.
Mataji, I can't hear either. I was thinking the issues on my end.
Sorry, I don't know when it got stopped. I only realized a little later that the internet was gone. Maitreya continued, Emperor Antardana did not like to tax, punish, or fine his citizens, and he retired from his royal duties on the plea of undertaking a lengthy sacrifice. Although such activities were usually performed for material benefit, Antardana took the opportunity afforded by the sacrifice to hear and chant about Krishna, who eradicates his devotees' fears. By worshipping Krishna in ecstatic love, Antardana attained the Lord's spiritual abode. Antardana's son Havirdhana married Havirdhani, who bore him 6 sons, namely Barhishat, Gaya, Shukla, Krishna, Satya, and Jitavrata. Barhishat was expert both in performing karmic sacrifice and in mystic yoga. He became a great Prajapati and systematically executed sacrifice all over the world. As a result, the earth became covered with sacred kusha grass, their tips pointing eastward. Habirdhana's eldest son, Barhishat, was also known as Prachina Barhi. He was ordered by Lord Brahma to marry Shatadruti, the daughter of the ocean god Samudra. Shatadruti was so beautiful that when she circled the fire in the marriage arena, the fire god Agni became attracted to her, just as he had once been attracted to Shuki, the wife of a celestial sage. As she walked around the sacred fire, merely the sound of her tinkling ankle bells captivated the gods, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Nagas, demons, sages, and humans, despite their elevated knowledge. Wow, amazing. Shatadruti. Okay. Prachina Barhi begot children in Shatadruti known as the Pracetas. Okay, now we're coming to the point. Prachina Barhi had the wife called Shatadruti who was super beautiful, and they together had the Pracetas, all of whom were highly virtuous. When Prachina Barhi ordered his sons to marry and beget children, they decided to first enter the ocean and purify themselves by performing austerities and penance for 10,000 years. In this way, they worshipped Krishna, the master of all austerity. On their way to the ocean, they met and pleased Lord Shiva, who instructed them in the absolute truth. Okay, if somebody else likes to continue reading.
Okay, I'll read.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I have to read from.
Here, on those instructions, the Prachetas, the Prachina Barhi's sons meditated on those instructions.
Okay. Repeated them and worshipped the Lord with great care and attention. Vidura became curious. My dear Brahmin, please tell me how they met Shiva. What did they did to please him and what he told them? I am sure the account of their meeting must have great value. Therefore, please be merciful and narrate it to me. Rarely does an embodied soul personally contact Shiva. Even great sages devoid of material attachment cannot see him, despite always meditating upon him to attain his audience. That great Lord is the most powerful God, second only to Vishnu. Although he does not aspire for anything in the material world, for others' benefit, he is busily engaged everywhere, accompanied by his dangerous energies such as the goddesses Kali and Durga. Maitreya said, listen carefully and I shall relate the whole incident. Next page. Next page. King Prachin Bari sat on his great throne surrounded by ministers and palace Brahmins. 10 young men stood before him and bowed heads and folded palms. My dear sons, my wish is that you all marry. You Prachetas are royal warriors and it is your duty to beget good children. The eldest son replied, Father, your wish is our command. Kindly, however, give us time to consider how best to execute your desire. Prachin Bari smiled. Certainly, you may discuss among yourselves. The 10 princes bowed before their father and retired to a quiet spot in the palace grounds. The Prachetas spoke together. Our father's order cannot be ignored, said one. But first we must purify our hearts. Yes, replied another. Then we will beget pious children. I suggest we go to the ocean and meditate in its depths, said another. There we will not be disturbed. They all agreed. After informing their father of their desire and receiving his blessings, they left home, heading westward towards the sea. After a while, they came across a large lake. One brother said, "This is so vast, it resembles the ocean." Another said, "Just see how calm it is, like the mind of a saint. Perhaps we can meditate here." The brothers surveyed the lake. It was covered with red, white, and bluish lotus flowers. Swans, cranes, chakravarkas, and other beautiful birds played on its waters, which were surrounded by tall, blossoming trees whose branches hung down to the water's edge. The humming of bees mixed with the melodious bird cries. It seems as if the denizens of these regions are celebrating a joyous festival, said one of the princes. As the Pracetas spoke together, they heard the strains of celestial music coming from the lake. They watched in amazement as Lord Shiva, along with numerous associates, emerged from the water. His body glowed like molten gold and his neck was blue. Surrounded by musicians who glorified him with melodious hymns, Shiva looked kindly toward the Prachetas with his three eyes. They immediately fell flat at his feet to offer him respects. Shiva smiled at them. He said, "My dear sons of Prachinbari, I am pleased with your virtue and gentility as I wish you all good fortune. I know you are here to worship Lord Krishna, and I have come to you to do you good." The Prachetas gazed at Shiva. How How had they achieved such good fortune that the mighty God had personally come to show them his mercy? Understanding their minds, Shiva said, "Anyone who surrenders to Krishna, the controller of everything, is very dear to me. It is said that one who perfectly performs his prescribed duty for 100 births can attain the post of Brahma, and one still more qualified will come to my abode. A person surrendered to Krishna, however, reaches his eternal realm at the end of their life. Neither myself nor any gods achieve their destination until the cosmic annihilation. As Krishna's devotees, you are as worthy of my respect as the Lord himself." The brothers placed their palms together and bowed their heads. The eldest said, "O Lord, you are Krishna's greatest devotee. We are your servants." Shiva smiled and raised a hand in blessing. "I know that because I am also Krishna's devotee, you hold me as dear as you do the Lord. I will therefore teach you a transcendental prayer which will enable you to quickly attain life's ultimate goal. Please hear it with attention." The Prachetas stood in a semicircle before Shiva, listening attentively as he began his prayer. "O Supreme Person, all glories to you. You are the best of self-realized souls, always auspicious for those who know you. Kindly show me your mercy. Your instructions are perfect and should always be obeyed. I therefore worship you, the Supersoul in everyone's heart. My Lord, from your navel sprouts the cosmic lotus, the origin of the material creation. You are also the source of the material senses and sense objects. Please give me your mercy. So I may dedicate my senses to you. I am constantly disturbed by the waves of material existence, hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. However, as Vasudeva, the origin of consciousness, who is all pervading, you are always peaceful. I bow to you and beg that you make my consciousness suitable for serving you. Dear Lord, as Sankarshan, the deity of false ego, you amalgamate the cosmos and then, in due course, Dissolve it by the fire emanating from your mouth. Please therefore burn up my attachment, born of false ego. Bind my attachment to you and my ego to my identity as your devotee. You are Pradyumna, the Lord of intelligence. Please awaken my intelligence so that I serve you. You are Aniruddha, the origin of the mind, the chief sense. Please attract my mind exclusively.
We'll pause here. Mahadev, Lord Shiva, is also known as the Manobhimani Devata because he controls that sense of control of mind control and the false ego, etc. And that's also another point here. The connection between Lord Shiva and Krishna. Okay. Thank you, Rasastali Mataji. Maybe Komal, would you like to read a little bit?
Sure, Mataji.
Okay.
I start from here?
Yeah.
To your service, the sun god and expansion of your form as Aniruddha purifies all things. Kindly therefore purify my mind so I can understand spiritual truths. O Aniruddha, you help materialists attain the higher planets and transcendentalists achieve liberation. Your golden semen becomes Agni, the fire god, who presides over the voice and makes possible the 4 types of fire sacrifice known as Chaturhotra. Please therefore inspire me to use my voice to perform the sacrifice of chanting Krishna's glories. Dear Aniruddha, you also expand as Soma, the moon god who controls the mind. He provides the foods offered to the gods and forefathers. Furthermore, you are the origin of the 3 Vedas, which instruct everyone in their obligations to their forefathers, the gods, other living beings, and saintly people. Kindly free me from all such obligations by giving me the strength to engage fully in your loving service. Soma is also responsible for the tongue's ability to relish the taste of food. Please give me the strength that I will not taste anything but your sacred remnants. My dear Lord, you are gigantic universal form which contains all the living entities' bodies. By your grace, may everyone's bodily senses be engaged in your devotional service. For example, let our noses be engaged in smelling flowers offered to your lotus feet, and our hands be engaged in cleansing your temple. As the life breath of every living entity, you maintain the 3 worlds. Consequently, you alone enable everyone to engage in life's real duty with full bodily and mental strength. I pray that I may serve you with my life, wealth, intelligence, and words. The Pracetas looked at each other. The Pracetas looked at each other. They each had the same question in their mind. What was the need to pray in this way? Was the intention to serve Krishna not sufficient? Shiva said, even though you may desire to engage in the Lord's service, without his sanction you cannot do so. That is why I am teaching you how to pray for the Lord's mercy. Only by his grace can you serve him. The brothers thanked Shiva and he continued his instructions. My Lord, you are spiritual sound which reveals the truth of both matter and spirit. Your holy names are the essence of these vibrations. You are also the all-pervading ether that carries the sound. Please purify me so that by chanting your holy names, I may understand both the material worlds and the higher spiritual worlds known as the Vaikuntha planets. Mataji, next page. The spiritual planets, like yourself, are supremely pure, and only those who are completely purified can approach them. Lord, you inspire people to act piously and impiously, and you award them their respective results. By your grace, Pious karmis attain the heavenly Pitraloka, while the demonic are cast into repeated birth and death in this world. I therefore offer you my obeisances. My respects to you, the source of all benedictions. Everything is meant for your pleasure. You are the master of all mysticism, the original cause of all causes, and the personification of religion. Your knowledge is supreme, infinite, and without obstruction. As Rudra, you are the lord of false ego. You control the conditioned souls who work for profit. You also control the work itself and the results of that work as well as the body, mind, and senses. You are the source of Vedic knowledge and the activities it prescribes. Please therefore endow me with perfect knowledge so my mind, senses, and words will all turn toward your devotional service. Shiva gazed at the Pracetas with his three reddish eyes. Tell me what you have understood so far. The brothers conferred, and then the eldest said, Lord, you are teaching us how to pray to Vishnu so that we may be purified of ignorance. The origin of sound is Krishna. Through the sound vibration of the holy Vedas and his holy names, the Lord facilitates purification of our body, mind, and words, turning them exclusively towards devotional activities. Shiva smiled broadly. Yes, now I will teach you how to pray so that you can see the Lord. Listen carefully. Dear Lord, please mercifully reveal that form which is adored and worshipped by your dear devotees. I am not interested in your universal form, nor in your feature as the impersonal, all-pervasive Brahman, nor in your form as the Supersoul. I wish to see you in your complete perfection, your beautiful form, the source of all pleasurable relationships, which is specially liked by your devotees. Only that supreme personal form of yours can perfectly satisfy the senses so that they lose all attraction to material enjoyment. The brothers moved closer. Their hearts hankered to see Lord Vishnu. The oldest prince said, O great one, please tell us more about the Lord's beauty. Shiva closed his eyes. His complexion resembles a dark monsoon cloud and glistens like rainfall. He has 4 long graceful arms and is the embodiment of beauty. His charming face is decorated with eyes shaped like lotus petals, an elegant raised nose, an enchanting smile, a noble forehead, and ears adorned with sparkling gems. His merciful smile and loving glance accentuate his beauty. Vishnu's yellow garments wave in the breeze, appearing like flying saffron pollen from lotus flowers. He wears glittering earrings, a dazzling helmet, bangles, garland, belt, ankle bells, and other jeweled ornaments. His four hands hold a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower. The Kaustuba pearl adorns his chest, and gleaming epaulets his leonine shoulders. His chest is adorned with the Srivastha lines, the insignia of goddess Lakshmi. The beauty of his chest excels that of black siliceous stone streaked with gold lines. Tears stream down Shiva's closed eyes. His abdomen resembles a banyan leaf marked with 3 ripples that move delightfully when he breathes, appearing as if the universe, which sprouted from his deeply coiled navel, is about to re-enter it. His attractive blackish hips are covered by yellow silken cloth, tied by a belt embellished with golden filigree. His well-built frame and perfectly formed lotus feet, calves, thighs, and knees are extraordinarily gorgeous. Shiva slowly opened his eyes. Dear princess, pray in this way. My dear Lord Krishna, your feet appear like 2 petals of a blossoming lotus growing during the autumn season. The effulgence from your toenails dissipates the darkness in the heart of conditioned souls who seek your shelter. My Lord, kindly show me your form, which dispels all doubts and fears from your devotees' heart. You are the supreme spiritual master who can enlighten deluded souls struggling in the darkness of ignorance. Those wishing to purify their existence should meditate on your lotus feet. Anyone desiring to attain fearlessness must practice bhakti yoga while adhering to their varnashram duties. Dear Lord, even the King of Heaven desires your devotional service. You are difficult to reach for those engaged in karma yoga, jnana yoga, or mystic meditation, but those who practice bhakti attain you easily. My Lord, there are many transcendentalists who aspire to surpass the material energy. Some cultivate Vedic knowledge, others practice the physical discipline of Ashtanga Yoga. But only those rare souls who take shelter of your lotus feet can satisfy you. No wise person serious to achieve life's perfection would take to any process other than Bhakti Yoga. You expand as invincible time, which is so powerful that merely by raising your eyebrows, you annihilate the material world. Nothing can elude time's influence. It destroys the materialist's success and the Jnani yogi's realization of impersonal Brahman. Yet time does not touch a devotee who has taken complete shelter of you. One of the brothers said, My Lord, this may be true of a devotee who has attained Krishna. What though of one who is not yet fully surrendered? Does time destroy his efforts? Shiva smiled. An excellent question. A devotee's achievement is never destroyed by time. Even if he has not reached perfection, in his next life, he begins from where he left off. Such an opportunity is not given to the materialists or jnanis. Their attainments are lost at the time of death. The achievement of one who takes to the process of bhakti, however, is never destroyed, even if incomplete.
We can stop here today. Thank you, Kamal. And beautiful, no? Beautiful description, beautiful pastime to remember it this way. Rasastali Mataji, would you read
Yes.
us kindly? Thank you so much.
Today we'll be doing the third affirmation. When I
Yeah.
chant, I chant. Although this affirmation sounds simplistic, it is actually quite profound. When we chant, we often are disconnected from the holy name, being either externally or internally distracted from our chanting. When I chant encompasses the principle behind everything I teach in the Japa workshop. When we chant, our whole world should be put on hold. It must be about us and Krishna and nothing else. Sometimes I joke that the 11th offense is to have our cell phone on when we are chanting. In other words, when we chant, we shouldn't be doing anything else. We should not be on our computer, reading a book, or doing this or that. We should just be with the holy name. Once we clear all external distractions, we must also internally stop thinking about doing anything else. Some devotees say that when they chant, they give their time totally to the holy name, free of all external distractions. They chant in a quiet place. We call this chanting in our sacred space. But when asked if they have also created an internal sacred space, often the answer is no. When I chant means not only creating the external space, but more importantly, creating the internal environment in which we don't allow ourselves to be distracted. We could also say, when I study, or when I work, because it is the same principle. For example, I have seen people become so absorbed in reading their newspaper that they become oblivious to everything around them. We should be this way with our japa. When we chant, we want to be completely given over to our japa and not to anything else, either externally or internally. Hare Krishna.